Hi, I'm Brian.
I'm Brianna.
I'm Divinity.
I'm Fox.
I'm Manny.
I'm Mooney.
I'm Nicholas.
And we're the Teen Advisory Council.
Sounds like the beginning of a sitcom.
Like I said, we're the Brady Bunch.
What do you guys want to talk about today?
90% of tech is side conversation.
Is a hot dog a sandwich?
No.
Definitely is.
It
No,
is.
I don't
Just
think so.
no, Brian.
Mooney.
No.
It is.
No.
We're gonna start a civil war.
Speaking of sandwiches, I applied to Jersey Mike's and Wildomar because they're hiring right now. So
Oh, cool.
I might
Good
be
luck.
working there. Thank
Cool,
you.
you can ask them and they'll tell you that a hot dog is not a sandwich.
And then I'll
Just
be like,
Google
I'm sorry,
it.
then I have to leave. Hey
Jersey
Siri,
Oh my god.
is a hot dog a sandwich?
Here's an answer from Wikipedia.org. The hot dog, also spelled hot dog, or dog, is a grilled or steamed link sausage sandwich where the sausage is served in the slit of a partially sliced bun.
It's a taco.
Did you edit the Wikipedia page, Brian?
No. That is straight from Siri's source. So
Oh yes, because Siri is so reliable when it comes to this sort of thing.
How are you guys surviving the stay-at-home order while you're in school and at home? No,
I'm
while
survi-
you're doing schoolwork while at home.
I'm surviving about as well as a hot dog is surviving being called a sandwich.
you're doing pretty well.
Defamation.
So really well.
Mm-hmm.
How do you like your schoolwork?
Well, you know, grade 1 through 12, you still have college to get through.
Yeah, that's true.
I
You
just
ain't
took
done,
my
boy.
exam, and now my teacher is assigning homework for the stuff that wasn't on the A-push exam.
Yes. Get
Oh,
that.
so every teacher ever.
What do you guys do to keep yourselves occupied? Animal
I don't really do much except not sleep.
I've been baking.
That's nice. So learning a new hobby. That's pretty good.
I've been listening to music in my room a lot more, and like not caring if my brother hears it or not. That's something.
How do you stay connected with your friends?
I don't.
Me and Brianna sometimes tweet at each other, and that's how we connect.
That's our daily connection, social contact for the day. You're right, we do.
Mm-hmm. It's like the most randomest tweets, but then we just tweet at each other and we're like,
So you guys don't see other people outside of your home. You mostly see them online or through social media.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I only saw my friends the other day because of graduation. But other than that, like, it's been at home, not breaking social distancing.
I have an A last name, so I didn't even see most of my friends.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It was in the morning, so I saw a few, but not everyone. That kind of sucks.
My school did it by you get to pick your time, not by last name.
No, ours was by last name.
That's rough, buddy.
What's one thing that you've learned about yourself while being home this long without doing anything, like watching movies, hanging out with your friends, doing outside stuff? What have you learned about yourself?
Even
I
without
need
school,
to do something to like waste my energy.
even without like a normal set schedule, I still don't have a good sleep schedule.
Yeah.
Wait, you sleep?
Barely.
Figured out that even without the stuff that I'm doing, I'm still tired. I'm just always tired.
Mhm. But then you can't go to sleep, which is like.
Yes, it makes no sense.
Mhm. I feel that.
How do you beat boredom?
You don't.
No.
Like the things you enjoy doing just become boring at some point, and then you just have to wait out that like slump of whatever you enjoy to stop being boring anymore. It sucks.
You
Mhm.
scroll through TikTok for a couple hours at a time.
So in let's say in the full 8 hours that you're awake, regardless of what time it is, what do you think occupies the most of your time?
First, I'm awake for
Your waking
about
hours.
12 to maybe 15 hours a day. So I would say,
Who's awake for only 8 hours?
yeah, honestly, that's like waking up at 12 and then going to bed at 12. Like, that's not how
Well,
it works,
I was just
Agnes.
thinking okay, maybe not 8, let's say 16
Well,
hours that you are
okay.
awake. What do you do? What occupies your time the most? That's not school related.
Mostly applying to colleges, looking for jobs, things of that nature. Preparing to go
Oh,
to the
he's
real world.
productive.
Yeah, that's what we'll call it.
Getting so bored of your phone that like you just toss it aside and don't know what to do. It's
Yeah.
like,
That's why I follow
Yeah.
3,000 Corgi accounts. You know, you never
No.
get bored.
but it's like checking my phone's like what I always did for being bored, and then now I'm like bored of my phone. So I'm like, what do I do now?
You're so up to date with everything. It's just like, well, there's nothing else here.
There's nothing new.
Do you guys keep up with the news that's going on outside of your homes?
Kind of hard
Or
to
you
avoid it
ignore
when
it?
it's everywhere.
It's
See,
everywhere, and I wish it wasn't.
I don't see the news except for on Twitter. Like when Twitter's like, "Hey, here's the news," and I'm like, "I didn't ask for that," and so it's like, that's the only time I ever look at it is like when Twitter like throws it in my face. But it just kind of like I'm trying to avoid it because like they're all like being Debbie Downers and being like, "Oh, this many people have died." It's like, okay, but this many people have recovered, and I'm just kind of like,
Yeah, but
I'm
you can't really shed this in a positive light. Unless there's a vaccine or something like that, then there really is not that much good news to be had.
yeah, but it's still like, I mean, even before like the news, like I didn't watch the news as much because it's always like this shooting, that shooting, like it was constant. So it's now it's like you just kind of like avoid the news like as much as possible because like I already have like myself to feel down about. Like I don't need the news to bring myself down too. Like
Better to be depressed than knowledgeable than, you know, ignorant and, you know, blissful.
Oh,
I don't know about that.
I'm kind of ignorant of this right now.
Do you think that you guys are getting information overload because you're at home and everything is within your reach, news-wise, social media-wise, YouTube-wise? I don't know. I mean, because what do you do aside from?
I wouldn't really say it's an overload. It's just everyone talking about the same thing at once. Every news station, every major YouTuber, things like that. It's just
Even
talked
the
about everywhere.
commercials talk about it.
Oh my god. We're in this together.
TV and everything.
I know that the commercials are kind of, if you've noticed, even like a commercial for an energy drink, it has the same theme as a commercial for a hospital.
They're so patronizing these days. We're in this
So-
together. Buy my product.
Do you feel more or less isolated, or you still feel connected to the people that you normally interact with? It can be friends, family, it can be like, you know, neighbors, people that if you've worked before that you've interacted with. Do you feel connected or isolated from them now that everybody's
Isolated.
Definitely more isolated.
I mean, I still talk to my coworkers because I play video games with them. And so, like, I mean, I'm still, like, connected to all my friends, but also, like, I agree that, like, it's kind of isolating that, like, they're not there, like, face-to-face, you know?
Do you think this will be the new normal?
Probably.
I hope not.
I hope not. I'm not a very good texter. I like talking to people in person.
Do you think school, they say that for most of the colleges, UCs and state are pushing to do online for next semester. For high school, also they did a survey for parents if they to get their input if they want to do hybrid, traditional, or fully homeschool curriculum. How do you feel about for yourself? What do you want?
I think a mixture of both is honestly best, just because for me, I go to a physical school, but then I do online school, and you don't have the pressure of doing what you don't have the pressure of a solid schedule. You kind of can interpret your own schedule on the days that you're homeschooled. So that'll probably work for a lot of people. I think they just need to get used to it.
A lot of self-discipline, though. Not many people have that.
Well, that's why you kind of need both, because considering a lot of jobs are already moving to more online things, you have to learn to be self-disciplined because so many jobs are going online these days.
Do you think with the stay-at-home order that it will totally change the way we do things? Grocery shopping, going to the mall, going to the movie theater, concerts.
Considering movie theaters are already like becoming outdated, not really. More and more people are doing things online these days, so it's just kind of overload at the moment because we're not prepared for this.
So some of you say that, oh, go ahead.
I hope we do, so that we're more concerned about our hygiene and everything. We don't have to always. There's a lot of unnecessary touch things that we do. We don't necessarily need to do those. So hopefully we become more aware about that personal space and everything. Obviously not like 6 feet apart all the time. That's terrible. But I mean, like, I don't know, just being more cautious of one another. And it's like, oh, I need to wash my hands. I can't touch my face here.
Do you, for other teams, do you think that they're also experiencing the boredom, the isolation, and even the lack of sleep, same as you guys? Or you think that that's just an isolated thing? Because, I don't know. Is it because of you?
Sorry. I know like lack of sleep and stuff like that was just something commonly talked and like joked about, especially like when I was still in school, like every day, like still showing up for class. But I was like, yeah, I got like no sleep. It was like almost like a competition, like, oh, who got more sleep? Like who's able to actually sleep and not be like pounded with schoolwork. So I definitely think it's like not just a quarantine thing, but now that we have more time on our hands, everyone's just kind of like doesn't know what to do. And so you're not expending as much energy. Because like, I know we've talked about this before, and it's like school definitely gave you that time to like move around and see friends, and like you got some exercise and like social interaction and sunlight. And I feel like now it's like we just don't know what we're doing, and so we kind of just like do this whole wandering thing. It's like when you go to the kitchen and you're like, I want to do something, so you open the fridge, but then you just stand there staring at it like, what am I supposed to do? Like, why am I here? It's basically that, but every day, and it's that constant feeling. So I definitely feel like teens definitely feel it a lot, and it's like we're just trying to find a way to fill that emptiness.
Is it something that you think that you can do, something you can do for yourself so that you don't feel that way? That feeling of like, what's next?
Well, when you have nothing to do, your mind just wanders, so you can't really help it.
Yeah, it's like definitely like I know like finding some things to do, like whether just like finding like a free game or something, like play with friends on your computer or something like that. Like it's gonna sound cheesy or something like that, but like Wizard 101 or so, like one of those like free like games that you can just exactly like Toontown and all that stuff. Like just playing with friends, like finding something to like fill it in. And I know like I've been like getting back into reading again because like you want something to fill it in, and it's like I definitely think there's some things that you can do. The problem is it's just like you'll get tired of it really fast. So you need to like keep things flowing and keep things new and fresh. And I think this also kind of happens during summer too, like beforehand, like even when we could go places, like we didn't always go places. So you kind of like got that like almost like what we talk about, the summer slide, where it just like it hits and like you don't know what you're doing. Like you start like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So though, because we
go
could
ahead.
still do activities, we could still leave the house.
Yeah, I definitely do think knowing that you can't really do anything kind of like ruins your mindset even more. Just knowing that, because when you're just like, when someone says no, don't do that, you want to do it more. You know. So.
It's easier to stay home when you have the option to go out.
Yeah.
So with this stay-at-home order and you guys not going to the physical building that is your school, what is your conclusion? What kind of community do you really want to live in, and what have you figured that is important to you now that you're just at home? Like, what have you discovered? Like,
I think like I didn't realize the importance of like the classroom environment until now, because it feels so strange just like getting out of bed, eating breakfast, and then going back to my room to do homework. And I just feel like I can learn a lot better in an actual classroom.
We've grown up in that environment so much to the point where we kind of can't live without it anymore. I know, same thing. Like, I do my homework at my desk, which is also my room, which is also where I sleep. So my brain is like, this is your place for relaxing, but it's also now for your work. And, like, you are in here doing work all the time. Like, what's happening? So I think definitely interaction is nice, even if I'm more introverted, but, like, even just regular human interaction. If I don't even talk to them, just walking past people is definitely something I think that is needed for anyone.
I know definitely, like, for me, I never liked school. Like, I was always like about it. But like I miss, because at home, like I don't even get up to go eat breakfast. Like, I just get up and I start doing work, or I do it at like 2 a.m. in the morning because I can't sleep. And so it's like, for me, I mean, I work better at home because, like, being around a bunch of people, like, I get distracted easily. Like, I just want to be like talking to everyone, see what's going on, try to help, try to work things together. And so, like, for me, like, I work better if I'm like stuck by myself. But I always liked school. Like, the only thing I really liked about school was like going around, and like I miss the fact that I could see people just like randomly. Like, even as kids, I like people. I was like, and like we were acquaintances, like we weren't friends. Like, it was still like nice to see them and talk to them, even if it was only for one class period. But I also miss like having that time away from home, like just being able to go out, like to go to school, and like know like I have something to do, and also like to be away from like family and have some like me time, but also not me time because I'm with other people.
Kind of like what Brian was saying, I miss those people that are just, we're not really friends, like we wouldn't necessarily talk outside of class, but like we're more acquaintances, and I still miss seeing them. Like, I can always like call my friends or FaceTime them or whatever, but I kind of miss those people where it's like we're not quite close enough to actually talk outside of school, but I still want to interact with them. So.
Yeah, the people that, like, you don't really have a reason to talk to them besides having a class with them or something. Those are nice. Those
It's
are
like,
just acquaintances.
Yeah.
it's like they're nice people. Like, you don't hate them or dislike them. It's just like
There's just no other reason to talk to them.
yeah.
So you think that it's the human interaction that's something that you feel now that maybe slightly irritating while you were in school because you don't like everybody or you don't really get along with everybody, but now there is a certain need to interact with other people aside from the people that you immediately live with.
I think so.
Yeah, definitely.
I think the most introverted person needs that isn't like doing okay right now. Like, I think they need at least a little bit of human interaction that isn't just their family or something. I think everyone's in that boat.
And as someone who's like very social, it's like I'm bouncing off the walls. Like, I want to see people, I want to talk to them. Like, I want to constantly be busy. And when it's just like looking at a screen, or like even just hearing their voice, like it's not the same as like being able to see them, see their expressions, and talk to them, and like hear and just like not human touch, but like it's just like the presence of someone else instead of just the presence of me, myself, and I. It was always nice. Like, you know what? Like, hey, we aren't best buds, but we aren't like, ew, don't talk to me. So like, it was always nice. Like, you had a face, like you could turn next to you, like the desk next to you, and be like, hey, like, how are you doing? Like, how's your day? What's going on? Like, what'd you do this weekend? Like, it was just to fill in this little like void you had that you needed like some interaction.
Any last words before we end this podcast?
I would definitely say, like, if you are feeling like a little bit alone or like any of that, you know, like you're deprived of like talking to someone, like definitely reach out to someone and just like see how they're doing or check up on them or even just talk to like make small talk, you know, like just make sure like you're talking to someone at least once a week that isn't family, that or at least like once a day. That way you get that little bit of human interaction and you get to like actually like, I don't know, I guess spend some time with someone. So I guess my advice is just like make sure you go out, or not go out because social distancing, but like reach out and talk to someone.